Good evening, I'm Praram Vadahal. Let's begin with the main stories. The UN General Assembly, an opportunity for Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli to earn confidence of the international community on Nepal's efforts for transitional justice. Experts urge to raise issues including climate change and release of Bipin Joshi. Solid programs yet to be introduced to ensure success of decade for investment in agriculture. Ministry has no preparations to grow independent on agro products. Farmers always at the receiving end. Head of Bangladesh interim government Mohammad Yunus advises former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina not to comment on Bangladesh during her stay in India, accuses India of exaggerating incidents against the minorities. And the ANFA making plans to build 3 well-facilitated stadiums as alternatives to the Dashat Stadium. Land acquisition a major challenge despite proposing 3 locations inside the Kathmandu Valley. Haritalika Teej has been celebrated with much fervor and enthusiasm across the country today. Hindu women worship Lord Shiva on the occasion of Teej. According to religious belief, fasting and worshipping Shiva and Parvati on this day brings happiness, peace and prosperity to one's families. Legend has it that goddess Parvati, who was supposed to marry Lord Vishnu, too had undergone rigorous fasting to get Lord Shiva as her husband. Married women observe the festival in the hopes that their husbands will have long lives, while those unmarried observe the day hoping for a good husband. Hindu women throng Kathmandu's Pashupatinath temple among other Shiva shrines across the country since early morning today. The Pashupati Area Development Trust had made better arrangements this year in relative comparison to past years to ensure ease for the pilgrims. All 4 gates of the Pashupatinath temple were open from 3 a.m. in the morning, while the pilgrims shared that they felt more secure this year. In our Public Voice segment, we've asked in several provinces what is the most important aspect of these festivals. Let us now take a look at what they had to say.
तीजको महत्व भगवानको दर्शन सबैभन्दा ठुलो शिवजीको दर्शन श्रीमानको आयु लामो होस् छोराछोरीहरू दीर्घायु हुन् राम्रो सुख शान्ति हो सन्तानमा भनेर गरेको
तीज भनेको चाहिँ पुरानो संस्कृतिलाई नजिकबाट निहाल्ने अवसर पनि हो
बुवा आमासँग हाँसी खेली मिठो मसिनो जस्तो हुन्छ खाने नाच्ने रमाउने
शिव जस्तै पति पाऊ भनेर परम्परादेखि मान्दै आएकोलाई मानिरहेको हो
शिवको व्रत बसेर श्रीमानको आयु लामो हुन्छ भन्ने धारणा छ
दुःख सुख दिदीबहिनीले पोख्ने भनेर तीज मनाउँछ
दुःखहरु सबै बिर्सेर हामी खुसी हुन्छौँ
श्रीमानको आयुको लागि सुस्वास्थ्य र लामो आयुको लागि पूजा पाठ गरिन्छ
आफ्नो पति परमेश्वरको सुस्वास्थ्य दीर्घायुको लागि यो व्रत बस्ने गरेका छन् हिन्दू नारीहरूले
ती ठुलो चाड मानिन्छ हामीहरू लेडिजहरूले रमाइलो गर्ने नाचगान गाउने घुम्ने पूजा गर्ने पतिको लागि
मिठो मिठो खाने रमाइलो गर्ने श्रीमानको लागि व्रत राख्ने
घर परिवारको सुख शान्तिको लागि वर्ष दिनमा चाहिँ हैन महिलालाई पनि एकपल्ट मुक्त दिउँ भनेर तीज आएको हो कि
एक दिन भए पनि माइतीमा गएर आनन्दले बसेर खाने दुःख सुख साटासाट गर्ने आफ्नो आमा दिदीबहिनीहरूसँग भेटघाट हुने यो ठुलो महत्त्व राख्छ
सम्पूर्णको सुख समृद्धिको लागि व्रत बसिन्छ
सम्पूर्ण ती कुराहरूलाई बिर्सेर हामी चाहिँ उ भन्दा उराम्री भएर सजिएर मन्दिरमा जाने भगवानलाई प्रार्थना गर्ने
Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli is heading to New York on the 21st of September to attend the 79th United Nations General Assembly. He is scheduled to address the General Assembly and the Summit of the Future, which will be his second time.
The international community has been closely watching Nepal's peace process, and Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli's upcoming participation at the UN General Assembly comes fresh from the endorsement of Transitional Justice Bill.
संयुक्त राज्य अमेरिकाको न्यूयर्कमा आयोजना हुने संयुक्त राष्ट्र संघको 79औं महासभामा सहभागी हुन सम्माननीय प्रधानमन्त्रीज्यूको नेतृत्वको प्रतिनिधि मण्डल गठन गर्ने र 2081 असोज 7 देखिको भ्रमण कार्यक्रम स्वीकृत गर्ने
The Transitional Justice Bill has been welcomed by the United Nations and the international community. However, they have continued to keep an interest on the implementation of laws, appointment of office bearers at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and the Commission for Investigation of Enforced Disappeared Persons, and also justice delivery to the victims. Also at the heart of interest lies punishment to the guilty. The upcoming UN General Assembly address is taken as an opportunity for the Prime Minister to inform the world about the progress and also give assurances for the remaining works. He is also expected to present a clear and concrete plans until the peace process fully concludes. The other pressing issue that Nepal needs to continue advocating on is impacts of climate change, as Nepal's mountains continue to melt and erratic and unpredictable rainfall patterns continue to take lives due to emissions by developed nations. 21 glacier lakes in Nepal are at high risk of outburst, and there's a call on the Premier to make sure to highlight on the loss and damage aspect of climate change.
हिमालयका सबभन्दा ठुला शिखरहरू नेपालमा रहेको कारणले गर्दाखेरि नेपालमा जलवायु परिवर्तनले नेपालको हिमालयमा परेको असरले यहाँको जनजीवनमा, यहाँको खेती प्रणालीमा, यहाँको चाहिँ पर्यावरणमा परेका असरहरू संसारको चासोको विषय हुनुपर्छ भन्ने विषय नै हाम्रो जलवायु परिवर्तनको सबभन्दा ठुलो मुद्दा हुन जान्छ.
The other issue that needs highlighting is the ongoing wars that have had ripple effects across the globe. As Nepali national Bipin Joshi is still held by Hamas and over 40 have died in the Russia-Ukraine war fighting on behalf of Russia, the Premier and Nepal's delegation is expected to raise the issue of Joshi's release, compensations to the victims, and repatriation of Nepalese nationals dead or alive in the Russian army.
हाम्रा जो समस्या छन् त्यसलाई नेपालको समस्या नेपालप्रति निगाह गरेर राखेका छौं भनेर सोच्छन् भने त्यो गलत हो. हाम्रो समस्या विश्वकै समस्याको एक अंग हो. हामी विश्वकै समस्याले गर्दा फेरि हामी पीडित भएका छौं. गरिबी छैन हाम्रो मात्रै समस्या होइन, गरिबी विश्वकै समस्या हो. त्यसकारण गरिबी निवारणका निम्ति हामीले गरेका प्रयासमा हामीलाई अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय सहयोग चाहिन्छ.
Prime Minister Oli also soldiers the responsibility of making sure that the sideline meetings during the General Assembly are fruitful and strengthens Nepal's bilateral relations. It may be recalled, 4 years ago, amid COVID pandemic, the Premier had addressed the UN General Assembly through virtual medium, and he had raised issues like impacts of climate change on Nepal, weapons issues, and economic uncertainty, among others. Not much has changed so far, while geopolitical crises have left countries in wars. This calls on Nepal to take charge for world peace as a country that is the birthplace of symbol of peace, Gautam Buddha.
The government is yet to introduce programs to ensure the success of the Decade for Investment in Agriculture plan included in the budget of the ongoing fiscal year without any preparation. Despite the objective of increasing productivity of the agriculture sector, barely any preparation has been seen. Instead, the farmers continue facing problems, including delay in release of payments along with availability of fertilizers and seeds. With the objective of increasing productivity of the agriculture sector, the government had introduced the agro insurance program 11 years ago. As per the program, the government is to bear the 80% amount of the insurance premium. However, with the government yet to release 1 billion rupees in the past 1 year, insurance companies have grown concerned. Government entity, the Dairy Development Corporation, is yet to release more than 1 billion rupees in payment to the dairy farmers. Despite Thursday's decision of the meeting of the Council of Ministers to provide 600 million rupees in loan to the DDC, the farmers are yet to receive their payments. While the government has announced the Decade for Investment in Agriculture sector, the price of food grains and vegetables have increased by 20% in the past year. There is an opportunity to increase productivity of the agriculture sector by providing technical support to the farmers. However, this opportunity has not been grabbed. Tragedy is such that the farmers have been struggling to receive chemical fertilizers, seeds and other technical support. There is a trend of formulating programs with the objective of benefiting the farmers, but they never see the light of the day. The young population of the country is not attracted towards the agriculture sector. They prefer basic employment opportunities in foreign countries. The government does not have clear programs to reduce the import of daily essentials, including paddy, rice, potatoes and onions, among others. Those other than farmers have been abusing aid of more than 20 billion rupees in the agriculture sector. Despite the agriculture sector in a sorry state, the government denies accepting these sour facts. While struggling to address the immediate issues, the government has also failed in formulating efficient long-term plans. Despite the prospects of increasing productivity, agro products worth around 300 billion rupees are imported each year. Meanwhile, around 1 million hectares of arable land has gone barren in the country. Farming in such a large area of land could stop the exodus of the young population and curb the trade deficit by making the country independent in agri-products. For all this to happen, the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development must play an efficient role. Time now for our segment Public Polls, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Polls.
Before we ask today's question, let us take a look at the result from yesterday's poll. Yesterday we were asked, what do you term ministers making irresponsible statements in succession? 38% were for A, boasting power, 49% were for B, violating their jurisdiction, and 13% were for C, effort to deviate from topics. And here is our today's question. Why have the problems of farmers related to fertilizers, seeds and price not been addressed despite the changes in the government? Your options are A, no understanding of significance of agriculture, B, pretext of inadequate budget, and C, lack of coordination. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Preliminary report of the investigation committee formed to probe the unfortunate crash of the ill-fated aircraft of Sauri Airlines at the Trivandrum International Airport on 24th of July has stated that the crash might have occurred because of using the wrong takeoff weight information and inconsistent V speeds. The Accident Investigation Commission's report posted on the Tourism Ministry's website on Thursday concluded that pilot error along with the negligence of operator and civil aviation regulator were responsible for the July 24 crash that killed 18 people on board. The pilot was the lone survivor. The probe report said the CRJ-200 aircraft registered 9N AME suffered inconsistencies between its airspeed measurements and takeoff weight. The flying pilot inserted incorrect speed measurements and takeoff weight data into the flight computer, causing the aircraft to enter an aerodynamic stall, sudden decrease in lift, which the pilots failed to correct. An aircraft's weight determines required takeoff speeds, with heavier planes necessitating higher velocities for safe rotation. The Sauri Airlines ferry flight was scheduled for heavy maintenance at Pokhara International Airport due to the unavailability of hangars in Kathmandu. The report has blamed the civil aviation regulator for overlooking the ferry flight procedure. The report added that the procedure followed in issuing the flight permission for the ferry flight was inadequate, as the obtained records did not show completeness and compliance with the procedure manual for flight permission of the Civil Aviation Authority of Nepal. Now, tourism businesses are growing concerned as tourists have begun cancelling their bookings and reservations for the upcoming tourist season. The period between September and October is the second major season for tourists visiting Nepal and for mountain expeditions as well. Now, tourists had already made their bookings and reservations for the season. However, tourism businesses have said that the tourists have begun cancelling their bookings and reservations, citing recent road accidents and air crashes. Nepal Association of Tour and Travels Agents is concerned after 15 British nationals cancelled their bookings and reservations for Nepal visit. The association has said that tourists consider Nepal a risky destination because of road accidents and air crashes and have therefore begun cancelling their reservations. Mountain expeditions are high in the months of September and October after April and May each year. Bookings are relatively better this year in comparison to 2019. However, tourists have begun corresponding about cancellations through emails. As bookings and reservations can be cancelled 15 days ahead of the planned visit, the tourism businesses remain concerned about the drop in the number of tourists visiting the country. The month of August, which is considered off-season, witnessed a drop of 23% in arrival of tourists in comparison to 2019. However, reservations are better for September and October in comparison to 2019. Despite being enthused for the initial bookings, the tourism businesses are worried about the growing cancellations. In addition to road accidents and air crashes, tourists arriving in Nepal have shared grievances about the high and expensive airfare. Countries similar to Nepal can be visited at way lower prices. Impact is being seen on the arrival of tourists, also because of the lack of aircrafts with the national flag carrier Nepal Airlines. Time now for the international news. The head of Bangladesh's interim government, Mohammad Yunus, has advised former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina not to comment on Bangladesh during her stay in India. In an interview given to PTI at the private residence of Yunus, he advised her not to make any comments, saying that the relationship between Bangladesh and India was getting sour. According to international media, Yunus was referring to Hasina's statement made on the 13th of August. Yunus made it clear that if India wants to keep Hasina until Bangladesh calls her back, the condition is that Hasina should remain silent. He also objected to the fact that India considers political parties other than the Awami League as Islamic entities. He said that India's notion that Bangladesh would be like Afghanistan without Hasina was wrong. Yunus has made it clear that they want to bring Hasina back as soon as possible and start prosecuting her. Currently, around 94 cases have been registered against Hasina in Bangladesh. Meanwhile, Yunus has said that the attack on minorities, especially Hindus, was not communal but motivated by politics. Yunus has also accused India of exaggerating the incidents against the minorities. He has said that Hasina's comment will affect the improvement of relations with India and the many treaties that Bangladesh has expressed its desire for in the future. As the agitation against Hasina intensified, she resigned and fled to India on 5th of August. Hasina has been in India for about 4 weeks now.
Sports news.
Most countries have more than 2 international standard football stadiums. However, Nepali football has been depending on the one and only international standard stadium of the country, which is the Dashat Stadium, for decades now. In absence of an alternative venue, Church Boys of Nepal had to play their preliminary round match of the AFC Challenge Cup against Paro FC of Bhutan on a muddy ground on 13th of August. The All Nepal Football Association was heavily criticized for the playing condition at the stadium. In absence of an alternate venue, the Under-20 SAF Championship and the National Women's League were also shifted to the AstroTurf of the ANFA complex in Saddobato. The only international standard stadium of the country, the Dashat Stadium, was built almost 5 decades ago. The playing ground of the stadium, which has been protecting the prestige of Nepali football for decades, becomes almost unplayable during monsoon season. Footballers and the ardent followers of the beautiful game have one demand, which is an alternative to the Dashat Stadium. The ANFA has asked for land from the government to build an alternate stadium as well. It has, in fact, received a positive response from Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. As per the regulations of the FIFA and the AFC, a grassy ground, a parapet of at least 3,000 spectator capacity, commentary box and a media center, among other aspects, are the prerequisites for international football stadiums. The ANFA has looked at Malpokhari of Chovar, land of the Pashupati Area Development Trust in Kageshwari Manohara Municipality, and the land next to the Palase plotting of Surya Binayak Municipality. The ANFA is in plans to build a 25,000 to 40,000 spectator capacity stadium with 2 to 4 practice grounds. For this, almost 60 ropanis of land is required. The government has appeared positive on providing the required land. The ANFA has separated $2.2 million for the first phase of construction of the stadium. The amount will be available under the Development and Infrastructure Fund of the FIFA, while the ANFA expects to receive additional funds from the government and donors. The ANFA aims to build a well-facilitated boutique-themed stadium with digital scoreboard and 5-star restaurants within 5 years. However, the first and the main challenge for the national football governing body is to acquire the land over which such a lavish stadium will be built. Hat-tricks from Deepa Neupane and Niru Thapa helped Nepal Police Club annihilate Sudur Paschim 9-0 at the Women's League. Niru Thapa put police ahead in the 9th minute, Puja Rana doubled their lead in the 30th minute, while Deepa scored police's third and her first goal of the match a minute later. After the first half ended with a 3-0 lead for police, the departmental team went all guns blazing in the second half. Deepa scored again in the 46th and 60th minute to mark her hat-trick. Niru scored the team's 6th goal in the 69th minute. Kim Kumari scored the 7th goal, while Niru completed her hat-trick in the 78th minute. Anushka Sharpa then found the back of the net in the additional time to seal the 9-0 thrashing of Sudur Paschim. With this, 4 players have scored hat-tricks at the ongoing Women's League. Meanwhile, in the first match of the day, Sankata and Chandrapur Municipality played a goalless draw. In the match slated for tomorrow, Armed Police Force faced Trivan Army. That is all for the moment. Up next is the news in Nepali. Thank you for staying with us. Goodbye and good night.